It was like cocaine for kids. Let's start with that.
Well, that and Fun Dip.
No context for that statement.
Yeah, no context.
Guys, I just want to have a little conversation about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Sound serious, Wasp. Let's go.
Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore, joined by basically the Avengers of Film Threat have assembled to talk about this Marvel movie. I'm joined by Anthony Ray Bench.
Hi.
Managing editor Alan Ing.
Hello.
And contributing editor Dante James. We all saw Ant-Man and the Wasp at separate theaters.
Well, not all of us. We doubled up.
Well, we doubled up, right. So Alan and I saw the movie in 4DX. And you guys...
I don't even know what it was called.
It's called Screen X.
Yeah,
You
we
guys
saw
saw
it
it
in
in Screen
Screen
X.
X. That's cool.
So I should actually mention that we didn't expect this when we're at the midst of LA Live, which we didn't realize until Alan and I are walking to the movie theater and we see a ninja. And I thought, well, I've seen weirder things in LA.
This is true.
I've seen here's a ninja that I'm like, oh my God, it's Anime Expo. So we are surrounded by anime fans in the middle of LA Live where we can still hear some little fireworks in the distance. We can hear fireworks.
Because it is the day after the 4th of July as well.
And some people haven't used them all. But so we broke up into two separate teams, as happens in many of these superhero films. Oh, wow.
Well, there we go.
Oh, wow. It's another fireworks going off. But so two separate teams went off. You guys saw the film in ScreenX. Alan and I saw it in 4DX. Before we get into the film, let's talk about the 4DX and ScreenX versions. I have seen ScreenX before. I saw Star Trek Beyond in ScreenX, which, to describe it, ScreenX is you're in the middle of the theater, but the image surrounds you 360 degrees almost.
Almost, not completely.
Like maybe 270.
Basically, it plays on 3 screens.
Right, so it's like you're surrounded. So tell me about the ScreenX experience.
It was terrible, and I'm never going to do it again.
What do you mean terrible? Why would you say that?
It gave me a headache.
Why did it give you a headache?
Yeah.
Just concentrating on the 3 different screens. Also, every time my eyes would get used to it, it would stop doing the other screens.
So the ScreenX didn't last the entire movie.
No,
What percentage
no.
of the movie would you say is in ScreenX?
I don't know. Probably like 20%.
Yeah.
20%, so like big special effects scenes or?
Yeah, pretty
Okay,
much.
okay.
The action scenes.
All right, gotcha.
Some
The
of them.
Quantum Realm, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the problem is that it's because it happens so
Infrequently?
infrequent that it was kind of jarring once you got back into it.
So you're saying it would have been a better experience if it was 100% of the movie?
Yes, no, absolutely.
These are some notes for the ScreenX people who I guarantee are listening to this episode of the podcast. They're listening to you say, but
Maybe I should be a little nicer.
No, you should say what your real opinion is, but when it was working, what did you like about it? Like how did it feel? Like, because I conceptually, like Star Trek Beyond, all the outer space scenes are in the sort of 270 view.
Yeah.
Which I thought were great, but I agree with you. When it wasn't, it's like I wanted it to always be there.
I felt like it worked well in certain scenes. Like it worked well when they were in the quantum realm. For some reason, it felt more natural there. But anytime it was out of that, and they focus on the house or some other scene that's taking place in the city, it almost didn't fit.
Not only that, our screening had foreign subtitles.
What?
Which were really super duper distracting.
What were the subtitles?
I don't know.
In Korean.
It was in Korean.
It was
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so it had foreign subtitles, but it was in English.
Yeah, the movie was in English.
Okay.
I think the problem is having the subtitles and having the ScreenX experience happening at the same time.
Too much going on.
It's too much going
Yeah.
on. Plus, you're trying to focus on the movie. So if they took the subtitles out, it probably would have worked a lot better as an experience. But the subtitles and the movie and the 3 screens going on was a little much.
Right.
Also, there's a space between the screens that just really got in the way, in my opinion.
It's like these high school multi-screen things.
Yeah. If it was one continuous screen, like I would have been a little bit more on board. It's the same thing that Warner Brothers does every year at Hall H, basically. I don't know. Like I wouldn't do it again, really. It's
All right,
just,
well, I feel like it's a technology that's developing. Like what? Like anything. Like I feel like first of all, notes are you got to get rid of those barriers between the different screens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One, it should be fully immersive the whole movie. It's almost
because
like
it's basically the curtains that separates the walls. and
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't give you like the full
Yeah.
Gotcha.
experience.
Gotcha.
Like I really like the Cinerama Dome, like, and this is kind of an extension of that. But the Cinerama Dome is like
It's seamless.
Yeah, and also there's a curve. These are just like 4 walls, 4 sides of a wall.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah.
So you actually have to turn your neck to see something cool, maybe,
Yeah.
or something new. Okay.
Now we saw the 4DX version.
Yes.
Alan, what is your thought? And is this your first 4DX movie?
Yeah, I've never. I mean, clearly we had a better time watching Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right. Yeah. So what? Tell me about your 4DX experience.
Well, at first it just reminded me of. You remember at Disneyland, you're at the Bugs Life movie or at the Honey I Shrunk the Audience movie.
Rest in peace to both of those.
Yeah, and
gone.
they did everything they could to give you that full tactile immersive experience, and I think for this movie it worked. I mean, I was pretty excited. There's some parts in it that felt like a roller coaster. I don't think I can talk about those.
Well,
until spoilers for you.
an actual. Okay, yeah, we should explain what 4DX is. So
'Cause I have no idea.
I've seen 4DX before. I saw Solo, a Star Wars story. I saw Solo, a Star Wars story in 4DX, and can I just say, it was so much fun in 4DX. Because here's what happens. It's kind of like 4DX turns the movie into a ride. So not only are you in your chair and the chair moves, the chair also vibrates. The chair, there's a scene where Ghost kind of comes up from behind a character and pushes you, and you feel Ghost push you behind the chair. In addition, there are, I think, smell effects.
Yeah, there were definitely smell effects.
Smell effects. There's water effects, so you get sprayed with water. There are blowing effects, so there's and there's also fog effects.
Yeah. Oh, and there's foot effects.
Foot effects.
Yeah.
So it's so basically you're being the chair is moving, it's vibrating, it's pushing you around, you're being blown while you're watching the movie.
That was the best part.
No.
Hi-yo!
There's blowing effects for the so I saw Solo, a Star Wars story. It was okay, and then I saw it in 4DX and I loved it.
Yeah.
And in this, I think it's even better because it's so well timed with the movie. I will say, having seen ScreenX before with Star Trek Beyond, that I think 4DX is the better experience. And I just happen to know that these experiences, 4DX, ScreenX, are very popular in Asia.
What is the obviously there's a price jump when you watch a 3D film versus a regular film. So what's the price jump for?
It's
$30,
it's about twice as much as a normal movie, so it's like $30.
Okay, but you get the experience though.
Yeah.
You get the experience. It's basically like if you love Star Tours and you want to see all the Star Wars movies as if you're in Star Tours, that's what it's like.
And you definitely, you definitely get that feeling, that sensation. I mean, you're being jerked around, you're being pushed around. It like you said, it's well timed. I don't know that I would pay $30 for it, but it was definitely an enhancer to the film.
Well, I'll tell you what I would pay $30 to see in 4DX is that Mega. What is that?
Oh, Meg.
The Meg.
That's it.
Okay, it's this Jaws. We saw a trailer for it at the beginning, it's basically a giant shark movie.
It's Jurassic World Part 3.
Right. Basically.
Based on a novel from the 90s. I do have a question about the 4DX, though.
Yes.
Is the screen in 3D? Like, do you have to wear the glasses?
Yes, it's in 3D.
Okay.
Did you guys have 3D?
I can't do that then.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like 3D and you're, being pushed around.
And you
That would
do have to
absolutely
wipe
make me
your
sick.
glasses off once in a while.
Yeah, no, it actually sprayed water where we had to take our glasses and wipe them off.
Star Tours, now that it's 3D, absolutely makes me sick.
It does make me sick, I will say, yeah.
Seeing an entire movie like that just sounds like a nightmare to me.
Yeah, but okay, so it's kind of cool that we. I think for me, the 4DX actually enhanced the experience. With you guys, ScreenX was
a miss.
A miss. So there you go. But well, we can thank Mary Hong from the ScreenX and 4DX company for gifting us with these tickets so we could go see it.
Yeah, no,
I just want to thank her. Who will and Anthony Ray Bench, remember this name, will never be invited to another screening. Okay.
Or 4DX.
I don't care. Look, I want you guys to be honest.
Yeah.
And she invited us, and we appreciate it, but we have to be honest.
Thank you so much. It just wasn't my thing.
And I am glad that I got to experience that.
Right.
Because I could say, okay, I tried that out.
Right.
And there's a way to make it better, and maybe we've given a few tips that could help them enhance the experience.
It's an emerging technology. But so it's so distracting. Like being here, we're seeing all these anime cosplays like walking by us as we're doing this.
This is almost like a prep for Comic-Con in a way.
It is a bit. Okay, so speaking of Comic-Con,
good segue.
I'm here to announce that the Film Threat podcast will be live at San Diego Comic-Con on Friday, July 20th at 2 p.m. at the Neil Morgan Library. You can check Film Threat's Twitter at Film Threat on Twitter for details, or go to the Film Threat Facebook. We are doing a podcast called The Last Jedi Debate. We are dividing the room up into two sides. People who love The Last Jedi, people who despise The Last Jedi. And we are going to debate style discuss the film The Last Jedi, which has been a point of controversy among a lot of people. So
for months.
So
Since the day it came out.
If you're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, come to San Diego Comic-Con. Come to the Film Threat live podcast recording. If you're unable to make it, you'll be able to hear it. But based on early reaction, I'll just say this. Every seat will be full. The podcast is not going to end with the end of that panel. The podcast, I expect, is going to spill into the streets, because this toxic fandom and all the issues that need to be discussed are bigger than can be handled in 50 minutes. So go to filmthreat.com for details, or follow us on social media, and we'll give you the details. Now, we also have, there's a couple other, I'm doing a lot of panels at Comic-Con, but you just follow me on Twitter and figure that out.
I'm doing
We're going to talk about, we want to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp, and the first part of our conversation, I would like to not be about spoilers. In the last part of this podcast, we'll get into spoilers. But at least for the first part of our conversation, putting the format that we saw the film aside, what did you guys think of the Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I loved it.
Yes.
Worst Marvel movie ever.
Shut up, Anthony.
No, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, well, I have the review on it on filmthread.com.
Right.
I give it 8. I mean, what I like about it...
8 out of 10?
8 out of 10. And I'll say this. It's, I described it as the cleanser from Marvel, or Avengers Infinity War. Just something light. And I would also describe this film as more of a comedy, most structured as a comedy. So you got to kind of forgive a little bit of its science, and its... it's not the most scientifically sound of the Marvel films, but you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh all the way through it.
None of them are very scientifically sound, to be honest.
Right. This is probably the least.
Yeah, I will say this about the movie. Scott Lang is the most likable character in all the Marvel movies.
I agree.
He's just really, really charismatic. He's caring, kind of an idiot, which I like, but he doesn't have like that whole, arrogance that Tony Stark and Doctor Strange have. He doesn't have that, raging monster in him like the Hulk. Like, he's just an average guy that's kind of swept up in these weird adventures.
Just
and
trying
I really
to do the
like
right
that.
thing
Yeah,
and never working out for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would say even more so than Peter Quill, who I also love as a character. And I think it's because maybe it's because God is a father, and you see that part of him in the movie as well. I feel like, to me, Ant-Man is probably the most complete Marvel character, because I feel like you get a whole range of emotions from him. I love the storyline. I thought the villain had a very, how should I say it? She had a very strong reason to do the things she did. which I love. Like, I love when a villain has a real reason for why they're doing what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
She wasn't even really a villain.
No,
in the
not-
sense of
well,
she was trying to save her
agenda.
life.
She was a distraction, an obstruction from meeting the final goal.
True. Yes.
Well, yeah, but there was a point where, again, we don't get into spoilers just yet. She made some pretty not great decisions that affects people's lives. So I don't know. She's a villain in a way.
Yes.
Right?
In
I mean,
the
she's
sense that she's an adversary, ghost.
Yeah, but she wasn't afraid to take people's lives.
True.
So
Murder kind of is the to me that's the
line, right?
That's the line.
That's
You
the
don't
line.
cross that line. That's
Once you murder, you're kind of the villain, you know.
But the scale versus Killmonger, who you know, maybe it was she wanted to kill one or two versus everybody.
Well, they kind of hinted at a long history, kind of like the Winter Soldier, where they would kind of sick her on people, and
Yeah, exactly.
she has a
Oh,
past.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, she was an assassin.
Very
Yeah.
Winter Soldier-ish.
Yeah.
I
She's a
could
weapon.
see them hooking up
Yeah. Well,
in like maybe the Infinity War 2.
But what I really loved about the movie, honestly, is I just love the lore of Ant-Man. I love the flashbacks to Hank Pym, and Janet being superheroes,
Goliath.
And me and Anthony were talking about that, how we wish like there was like a flashback to Goliath, and him doing his thing, and I just feel like there's like this lore with Ant-Man that I love, and.
Although I felt like that this movie was less about Ant-Man's story, but more about Hank Pym's story.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This was Hank Pym's story. This was Hope's story, and it was Hank just trying to help them out. And
and kudos to Marvel for the de-aging effects. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they-
Oh my God, they're so
they almost have it perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you kind of saw that in Civil War with Tony Stark when they did, young Tony or young Robert Downey Jr.
In the first Ant-Man, I mean,
Yeah.
Michael
Yeah.
Douglas
Yes.
looked like he
Yeah.
walked off the set of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do like that there's this storied history of Ant-Man and the technology, that it's like decades that I don't know, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne were these like heroes using this technology. And of course, we know from the first Ant-Man, she goes subatomic to stop a nuclear missile from reaching the shores of America, and basically sacrifices herself to go into the quantum realm. And most of the movie is about trying to get her back from the quantum realm, as played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who, oh my God,
She still looks amazing.
Oh
She still
my
looks amazing.
God.
I would be totally cool if she took the Catwoman suit and put it back on like that.
She looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she looks fantastic, but she also looks her age, which makes her look even more fantastic.
Right, yeah. She looks her age, and she's amazing. So, kudos to Marvel. What great, brilliant casting on that.
Yeah.
So, but you're right about Scott Lang, Paul Rudd's performance. He's not a dick.
Yeah.
Tony Stark can be a dick.
Yeah.
Scott Lang is different. He's almost kind of like, he has like this low self-esteem in a sense, because the most important thing in the world to him
Is his daughter. Yeah.
Cassie. Like that, I think that as a running thread, and like Alan, like your daughter is like almost the same age.
Yeah, pretty
like,
much.
You should speak to that, because didn't you saw the movie?
Yeah,
with
I took my daughter to see it, and she anytime I take her to see a movie and she doesn't like it, midway through she'll say, "How much longer is this movie going on?" and or when is this going to be over? And so halfway through Ant-Man, she goes, "When is this going to be over?" And I knew it was like another hour to go, so I always tell her half an hour just to hopefully, and so I tell it's going to be it's going to be a half an hour, and she goes, "I don't want this movie to end."
Wow.
That's so sweet.
And then we're walking out, and she goes, 10 out of 10.
Wow. She should, could she do reviews for Film Thread? Maybe
I know. Well, she called herself a junior reviewer.
Oh, I love it. That's so great.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Well, Chris,
But that's, no, go ahead. Yeah.
You mentioned Tony Stark and being a dick. A big criticism I have with that character is after, at the end of every movie, he learns his lesson, and in the next movie, it's completely out the window.
That's true.
And at least in this one, Scott Lang, learned his lesson. He, became a hero and decided to settle down and focus on taking care of his daughter. he got kind of brought back in with the Civil War storyline, but it picked up with him trying to be a father and trying to put, the heroic stuff. See, in the first movie, it's about him being a criminal and like putting that behind him. Yeah. And in this movie, it's about being a hero, like trying not to be a hero and trying to be a dad and putting the hero stuff behind him. And I really like that thread. I really like that kind of, symmetry with
the first film is about redemption, and redeeming himself as a suitable father.
Yeah.
This one, it's a lot about his teamwork. Yeah. Who his partner will be and how his mistakes had separated himself from Hope and from Hank.
What I also loved too was the fact that they didn't let him off the hook from Civil War.
Yeah.
Like you see the repercussions, not just of being under house arrest, but just the strained relationship between Hope and Hank and him kind of betraying them in a way.
Yeah.
By taking the suit out when he wasn't supposed to do it and helping Cap and the rest of them. So
I really like the fact that they hinted that his daughter Cassie wanted to be a hero because in the comics she ends up being Stature.
Oh, nice.
So, little nerd trivia for you.
Well, I would like to see, how they used to do those Marvel shorts that would appear on the DVDs?
I miss them so much.
I miss those. I would love to see the Marvel shorts about how all of them got out of that prison that was in the middle of the ocean. How did they all get out?
I completely agree with that.
I would love to see it.
And just the repercussions of what happened right after.
What happened right after Civil War? How did they all get out? I mean,
apparently Hawkeye and Ant-Man made a deal.
Well, they somehow they made plea deals, and then everyone else somehow got out. I don't know,
or went off the radar.
Yeah,
exactly.
Captain America never got caught.
Exactly.
Captain America saved them at the end of Civil War.
That's true.
Yeah, he broke them out. I'm sure he had a Quinjet waiting.
Well, that's true.
I mean, in Infinity War, they do have a Quinjet.
But the thing is, though.
Thanks. That's a really short film.
But the problem,
thanks, Anthony.
The problem is,
You're
though,
welcome.
Scott Lang had to return back to his life.
Yeah.
So that's why he struck a plea deal. So did Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Hawkeye has a wife and kids, and so that's why those guys made a plea deal.
Yeah.
Well, maybe had a wife and kids. We don't know when Thanos snapped his fingers. Yeah. What happened to the wife and kids?
Did the kid go? Is it the wife?
In theory.
Yeah. Right. In theory, they're still around. So I mean, look, I think it just elevates, like any great sequel, elevates everything from the first film. It's funnier. It has heart like the first one. Other layers. The resolution of Janet Van Dyne, I thought was great.
Yeah, completely.
And even her
new abilities.
Well, yes. Well, we're getting to spoiler territory. Okay, wait. Spoiler. This is spoiler alert. From this point on, we will be talking spoilers. Some sound effect that Anthony will make amazing here.
I'm not touching it. It's just going to be that.
But before we get into the spoilers, I just want I
can't back out of it.
I just want to hit on one thing.
Please.
That the Wasp was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love the Wasp.
She was the hero of this movie.
She blew my mind in this film.
Yes. You can't, I feel like also they can't do Ant-Man without the Wasp anymore.
No, not anymore.
There's no way. It's just the dynamic between the two of them is kind of a romantic comedy as a couple that, it's just, it works so well.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't say it in most superhero films, but I think the love story worked in this one.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it's also what I love about it is it's not the typical, if there's a love story in a superhero movie, air quotes, it's always, well, Mary Jane is in peril. Will Spider-Man, I have to save her, or will she die? Which was the first 3 Spider-Man movies. In this, the Wasp is never in peril. If anything, it's Scott Lang who has issues. So
yeah, no, that's true. She's usually saving him.
She's usually saving him.
But they were an effective team in this
Exactly. There wasn't the woman in peril, which is such a tired cliche. Yeah. And we know not true, so whatever. I just feel like it's show me. Here's the thing: is why the Marvel movies I think are so satisfying, is show me something I've never seen, and they do it every single time.
Yeah,
they don't repeat themselves. It really is something where I think maybe that was the lesson that Kevin Feige learned. Because Kevin Feige, of course, we were talking about Kevin Feige because I went to a tribute for Richard Donner at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. And Kevin Feige was an intern who worked for Richard Donner. Richard Donner, who probably, he made Superman.
Yeah.
So is Jeff Johns.
Right, so was Jeff Johns. So it's like, so both of them were interns around the same time, which is really funny because Jeff Johns told a very funny story about involving ruining someone's car, which I can't repeat it. It's his story to tell. But the fact that like he was there, then Kevin Feige worked for Avi Arad and learned the mistakes. I feel like he learned like, don't make 3 Spider-Man movies in a row where the main conflict is Spider-Man has a choice between saving the woman he loves or that's stupid. It's don't repeat yourself. And if one thing we've learned about the Marvel movies, they don't repeat themselves. I mean, they're not, even Feige said we're not going to do origin stories anymore, although they may break that. They may do it in a different way.
Well, they'll do it where appropriate.
Exactly.
We need to know where Captain Marvel came from.
Right. Well, that's okay. So
I agree with that.
We're into spoiler territory. If you're listening to the podcast, you have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, you should not listen beyond this point.
Spoilers.
Meet the sulky, over-bulky, kinda hokey superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically neurotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived. Superpower from the forehead to the toes. Watch them change their very shape before your nose.
All right, now spoilers.
So
Do you want to go right to the end scene?
Yeah,
or what do we want to talk about?
I'm going to say this. I was very satisfied in the way they resolved the Ghost storyline.
Yeah.
I was completely fine with the fact that, she just wanted her cure. She wasn't doing it for money. She wasn't doing it for more power. She just wanted to fucking live. And once she got that, that was it.
Yeah, but for me, the lazy writing comes in the fact that all Michelle Pfeiffer had to do, or Janet Van Dyne had to do, was touch her with her magical fingers, and she was cured. I'm like, okay, it's done. She has magical fingers. Done.
Yeah, they didn't explain too well what her new powers are exactly, but I was fine with I was fine with thinking, she was in the quantum realm for
30 years?
30 years.
Yeah.
Her body changed. Like she said, she evolved.
Yeah, but that all just
But we
seems
don't
too
know the
convenient for the cure.
That's kind of true.
Yeah. And Anthony?
I'm sorry. I'm kind of.
It's the lights
Are
here
you
at
taken
LA
in by
Live.
all the lights and the
No.
Anime
Yeah,
Expo stuff?
they're doing
Okay, so
hardcore head.
so the end of the movie, Janet Van Dyne,
I called it.
you already knew it before you.
We had a conversation in my car about it.
Oh my God, you are so weird.
Wait. You called
No.
that ending?
Anthony,
Yeah.
it's weird. He has predicted so many things about the Marvel
Are you
Universe.
talking about the ending
Yeah,
or the
post-credit scene.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't look it up. No spoilers, but they released concept art.
Yeah.
And the Wasp was nowhere on it. It was Ant-Man, it was Hulk, it was Captain America, it was Hawkeye. And I saw it by accident. And as soon as I saw that and there was no Wasp, I was like, there's got to be a reason she probably turned to ash. And lo and behold.
Yeah.
You predicted everything about Marvel. You're basically the
prophet.
Yeah, I'm the Marvel prophet.
You're the Marvel whisperer.
Now, I will say, I've seen the movie twice, and that moment, both times, the entire audience just lost their shit.
They gasped and lost their shit for the first end credit scene. The final one is more of a joke.
It's like
the final
Thor:
end
The Dark
credits-
World.
Right. Yeah. But that first one, people gasped. Obviously, it ties into Infinity War. We see Janet. We see them all, Scott's in the quantum realm.
Lost.
Right? In the quantum realm. But the weird thing, she does mention something right before he goes in there, it
Watch out for
plays. Watch out for it. Their time shifts,
Or time anomalies or something.
time anomalies, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. So, and the next Marvel movie isn't until March with Captain Marvel. Yeah. So, what are so? Basically, Infinity War, we know, is going to begin with the Avengers assembled but having lost everything,
Half of everything. And then Scott Like a divorce.
Lang in the
Yes.
quantum realm. So, what are your predictions? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I hate this game.
At this point, my predictions are spoilers, so I'm just gonna remove myself.
Yeah,
from this.
let's not hear from the prophet right now.
No, I want to hear from you. I want to know what's going to happen.
See, the last time I made an Avengers prediction, I said that the X-Men are going to return, and that could still happen.
No, I think so, actually, but maybe in Phase 4.
Yeah,
I think
or maybe
Phase
Hugh
4
Jackman shows up.
I mean, I don't have predictions because I just feel like Captain Marvel is such an unknown quantity at this point. I don't know what they're going to do with her, so I can't make a prediction at this point.
What are her movie powers? Because they could differ from the comic book powers.
But why would they? I mean, her powers are pretty good. They're good for film.
Super strength, flight,
does she have energy blast?
energy blast, indestructibility.
Yeah. So here's my out of there prediction. But Scott Lang is in the quantum realm, and he finds everybody in that realm.
Wait.
He finds everyone who disappeared. He finds them. They're in a
all
room.
there shrunk.
Yeah, they're in a room somewhere. And
Okay, that's
Scott Lang
different because
opens
we
it up.
talked about the Soul Stone. Everyone being in the Soul
Exactly.
Stone. But
Yeah,
that'd be funny if they're in the quantum realm. So then Scott's
Exactly.
Scott's walking, and then he sees Janet Van Dyne and Hank. It's like, hey,
Hey, you guys,
what are
why'd
you
you
guys
leave me?
doing here?
You just left me hanging.
But him being in the quantum realm, what Infinity Stone would even be comparable to that?
But we don't know what Doctor Strange did. Doctor Strange saw one pathway to defeating Thanos, one future pathway. So this is all.
But I'm
part
sure
of that?
it's all related to the Time Stone in some way.
Time. Or
No, I
Soul
think
Stone.
the pathway was giving Thanos the Infinity Gauntlet, the complete gauntlet.
Having Thanos think.
But I think he
won.
trapped the Time Stone. I think he
Maybe,
did some kind of shenanigans with the Time Stone.
I don't know. Can you do that with the Time Stone? With the
He
with the
did. I
Infinity
mean,
Stone?
I think he's.
Look, it's all movie rules. They just
I
make
know.
this stuff up,
Exactly.
right? So is it going to be entertaining? Are we going to be satisfied? I don't know.
The problem is we all know how it happens in the comic. We have no idea how it's going to happen in the movies.
That's what I love.
Yeah.
I love
we have
that.
no idea.
Okay, Anthony, tell us what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is the spoiler
Anthony is
portion.
our future stone.
Yeah, so I can't claim this theory as my own. There have been some leaked set photos of the Avengers back in their first costumes from the first movie. And I think that Scott Lang is going to go back in time. And I think, well, they have Tony Stark back in time too. I think they're going to warn the Avengers. And the events of the first Avengers movie are going to play out. But they're going to go after Thanos and defeat him that way. He doesn't have the gauntlet anymore. He's not expecting them. There you go.
That's interesting.
So it's the killing
that.
Hitler, going back in time and killing Hitler.
That's the only way, like, the time travel stuff, like, fits, in my opinion. Otherwise, it's going to just be a mess that's confusing everybody. But I'm not sold on this.
right.
Like,
I'm like, or they have another plan.
yeah, I need to see a trailer before I kind of piece things together.
I mean, one of the things I like about the Marvel Universe so far is there's no time travel and there's no alternate realities.
that's totally going to
Yet.
change, and it's irritating.
Yet.
I hate that stuff.
I would.
Well, I mean, if they're doing, from what I hear anyway, with Captain Marvel, there is going to be some time. I don't know if it's time travel though. They're just going to go back in
That's
time.
a backstory.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
it takes
backstory
place in
because
the 90s.
She takes, it takes place in the 90s, and then why is she gone?
But yeah, I assume she's
What did
lost
she
in
do?
space.
Or she's just upset.
And then also there's a pager.
And
with
there is
her
a magical
logo.
pager.
How did she get a
A
logo?
cosmic pager.
Cosmic pager.
Well, it was a LCD pager.
Right.
I have
Very
another
low tech.
prediction.
Fuck, Anthony.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna ruin this for us.
Okay, so the villains of Captain Marvel, like, it's already been revealed that they're the Skrulls. I think that we're going to see past the next Avengers movie, our favorite heroes have been infiltrated by the Skrulls because they're shapeshifters. I think that's going to be the whole thing. The next Avengers movie is going to be the Skrull invasion. That's my prediction.
Whoa.
That would be a way to bring in the Fantastic Four if they choose to do that, which I hope they do.
Well, the deal hasn't gone through yet.
Yeah.
The deal still is
So-
up in the air at this point.
It was
so.
approved.
But it would be a way.
It was
Yeah.
approved by the FCC, or
That'd
or
be a way.
whoever. Yeah.
So that's my prediction.
God, I love it.
Yeah. I would dig the Skrull invasion. I hope it's better than the comics because comics really, really botched it.
One thing I do agree with Anthony, we talked about this after the film, is just kind of the weirdness of Ant-Man and Wasp after Infinity War. You know, like, we felt like it's a movie that should have happened before we got Infinity War. And I know they want to do that whole thing at the ending with them turning into ash and whatever, but it just felt a little weird of the timing. Like, I think personally that Ant-Man and Wasp should have happened in May, and Infinity War should have happened now.
I agree.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. I felt like it was that palate cleanser because, I mean, you know, at the end of Infinity War, you know, your theater was dead silent.
Why do we have to feel good? Why not feel like torn up until next year? You know,
Well,
I agree with you so much.
I don't mind. You know,
Yeah.
Rip my heart out till next year. You know.
Yeah, and there's more of an anticipation.
Yes.
I really like that idea. It just, I don't know. It felt
Could have been
weird.
scheduling too.
Yeah,
it could have been that.
That's very true. It just felt weird to have this movie after Infinity War, especially. And I told Dante this. There's one throwaway line about what Ant-Man is doing in Infinity War.
Yeah.
About him being under house arrest. People could have like completely missed that.
What was it?
It was just like Ant-Man is
in
under
Infinity
house
War they
arrest.
explained that Hawkeye and Scott were under house arrest.
If people weren't paying attention and they watched Ant-Man and the Wasp after seeing Infinity War, it would be really confusing. And I think that's
you
going
could
to
actually
happen.
see Ant-Man and the Wasp before Infinity War, and it changes nothing.
Yeah.
It's actually would be weird to go like, why did they disappear?
Well,
they
they
probably
would have to
change
take
that.
that part out. Yeah.
No, they just leave it in. Why explain it? It'll be explained in Infinity
Actually,
War.
you know what? That's
Think
a good
about
point.
it.
That's
Think
a good
about
point.
it. It would be explained in Infinity War. Like, why are they poofs of smoke?
I like that actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that works. If you're gonna in the machete version of watching Star Wars, the way to watch it is, I think that totally works actually.
it absolutely does for Star Wars. And I think,
No, but it works for this. I don't know what the correct order is to watch Marvel movies. There are so many of them. I wouldn't think about like.
I don't think
Iron
there
Man
is
1, Iron Man
No,
2. and
okay.
then the
Can you do an
Incredible
article
Hulk.
on the website on filmthreat.com where you?
I guess.
Can you just do like the correct order to watch the Marvel movies is this: Spider-Man 2, you watch.
It's a lot to think about.
I was just watching the order that they were released.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it a whole lot easier.
Okay.
That's your best bet.
Final thoughts from everybody.
This is the worst Marvel movie ever.
It's not true. No, it's super fun.
Yeah,
it's super fun.
I liked it a lot.
It's-
I'm a big Ant-Man fan from the comics, and I want to see more of Hank Pym being Ant-Man because
Or Yellow Jacket.
yeah.
You know what I'm not a fan
Let's not do
of?
the abuse angle.
You know what I'm not a fan of? Ants. Because it's supposed to be 107 degrees in LA this weekend. And in anticipation of that, it's gotten really hot.
Oh, yeah.
And my entire kitchen has been infested with ants. I have ants everywhere. As much as I love Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, I don't like actual ants in my food. Although I did love Uncle Milton's ant farm when I was a kid, which was a thing that you could purchase. And why am I saying this right now? Okay, final thoughts.
My
from
final
Alan?
thoughts are go see the movie because you'll have a good time. That's it. You'll have a very good time.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like that this is, I like this as the funniest compared to like Thor, Ragnarok, and Guardians, just because this is a lot more grounded. It's situational. It doesn't the comedy doesn't come from weird characters. It comes from real situations, and you're gonna laugh the entire way through the film.
Well, to piggyback on that, it must have been the crowd that we were with because a lot of the jokes were kind of dead silent, like they missed the mark.
Well, yeah, because we were laughing, but a lot of the audience weren't.
be it.
They weren't really getting it, or we were. So
Yeah. But
Well-
I think Thor Ragnarok is still a little bit funnier, but this one's pretty up there
I'm with
too.
you. I think Thor Ragnarok definitely. But this has heart. It's a little
Oh, absolutely.
different. So
Yeah.
kudos to Peyton Reed for delivering a second great Ant-Man movie. So thanks to him for that.
and also just to kind of somewhat piggyback. What I like about this whole Ant-Man series is that it works well within the Marvel universe.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But it also works well just on its own.
Yeah.
Like the Ant-Man series works well as a standalone, superhero film,
True.
which is what I like about it.
Yeah. All right.
So go see it. We all agree. Go see it.
Okay, so Anthony, can you put your Infinity Gauntlet on and snap your fingers? Let's get out of here.
Giant Man. From whence have you come?
We came here in insect size, which is why you didn't see us. Wasp and I can change size in a flash by taking these instant capsules of mine. Sorry we're late, but you know how long it takes a woman to get ready.
You don't find that offensive?
No,
you don't
no.
find that sexist?
This is 1982.
That's
Bobby,
right, it's
come on.
1982. Get out of the 60s. We don't have this mentality anymore.